Hey, welcome. Today we're replacing a wiper switch in a 2011 Ford Edge for a common problem. So 11 to 14 Edges, F-150s, the Lincoln MKX, the F-Series Super Duty trucks, as well as the Explorer, all have a common issue with the window wiper switch on the auto function wiper switches. They have a ghost or an intermittent wipe, or they'll actually continue in a low speed intermittent wipe even when the switch is turned off. So there's a TSB on it from Ford to replace this wiper switch right here. So that's what we're going to go through today. It's a relatively easy install. You got the switch. There's no connector. It actually goes into the steering column assembly, so there's no external connector that's going to connect. It's going to fit right in there. Labor time on this switch install is going to be 8/10 of an hour for a technician to complete the install. I'd probably figure about an hour and a half's worth of time if you've never taken the steering column shroud, that type of stuff off. In terms of tools and equipment today, you're going to need probably a flat blade screwdriver or some sort of trim tool. If you have plastic trim tools, those would be great because we're going to be taking some of this plastic apart. So try not to mar up the steering column plastic shell. And then you'll need a ratchet with an extension and a 7mm socket. And you'll need a 10mm Torx to remove the switch. So why don't we get right into the removal. So we'll start with the steering wheel in the highest position. You can unlock it here. And then we'll take the three 7mm bolts out of the bottom of the steering column. These are the 3 bolts that are going to hold the plastic shell to the column assembly. All right, with the 3 bolts removed, it's now time to unclip the plastic pieces here. They have clips. There's basically one right here, and then there's going to be one right in here. So you want to be really careful at this point because the clips are pretty fragile. They like to break. And then this thing is actually it's not hinged at the back, but the clips slide into the back side of the bottom cover on here. Now we don't have to pull the entire shell off. We just need to get it to expose far enough to be able to get our switch out. So we're going to very carefully here start to pry in here with our screwdriver. Try not to mar the plastic if we can avoid it. So I've already popped the first clip out, which is going to be right here. We'll go over to the other side of the steering wheel and do the same thing to pop that other clip out. Again, being very careful to try not to break these clips. And just like that, you can see here we got clip and clip here with an alignment peg and an alignment peg. And then this piece at the back side here, this is going to actually fit down and into a little holder there on the bottom shell piece. So we just have to get that up out of the way, exposing 2 10mm Torx bolts. We'll remove those. And then our switch is going to simply pull this direction out of the column. So actually it comes out pretty easy. You don't have to do too much to it. Just give it a nice yank to the right and it pulls right out of there when it's unbolted. So there's our old switch. We'll take our new one and again, just the opposite way, just inserting it back in there. It should slide right in and it should click pretty securely in there. It shouldn't have a lot of movement to it. And then we'll bolt it back down and we'll test it to make sure it works. Now I'm just going snug with these screws. They're just like a fine thread trim screw, so don't go crazy on them. Okay, all the speeds appear to be working. The rear window's working. The windshield squirters work. I think we're good to go with this switch. So now what we got to do when we put this back together, we want to pull the bottom cover up and get it into place as best as possible here, because the top cover is going to hinge into it. So I actually like to pull the steering wheel down to its lowest point, pull it all the way out, and lock the steering wheel in place in this position. It makes it easier to make sure that I'm getting everything lined back up for the reinstall. So with the bottom cover lined up the way it needs to be in its place, I like to hold it with my left hand, then with my right hand, take the top cover, and again, it kind of hinges at the back here. So we'll kind of hinge it into both sides, and then we'll bring it down on top of the cover. Don't force this. There's alignment pins on both of these sides of the cover, so it should line up nicely and click right in. Without a lot of force, it clicked right in place, and it should hold securely on there if you've done everything right. Now it's just simply install the 3 bolts on the bottom side, and you're good to go. That completes this job. So maybe a little bit of an overestimation on that hour-and-a-half repair. It really goes pretty quick as long as the clamshell here around the steering column comes apart nicely. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give us that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, making sure to click on that little bell icon down in the corner. That way you get notified when we come out with the next video and the videos from there. Also, don't forget to check us out on social media. That way you can stay up to date on the most recent stuff happening coming from GoTech. So I really appreciate you guys watching. And as always, happy wrenching, everyone. Thank you.